So, who watches The Watchmen? That's been the question that a lot of people have been asking over the last few weeks. And last night I was lucky enough to go down to the opening midnight showing at the Criterion in downtown. And I got to be one of the first people to check out The Watchmen. So, this is my video review of it. Um, for those of you who have never seen The Watchmen comic before, it's considered one of the greatest graphic novels, or the greatest graphic novel of all time, and still one of the greatest novels of all time, which says a lot considering how a lot of people view comic books in modern society. So, theater was pretty packed. There were a lot of girls there, which surprised me. I don't know what it is. Maybe Christian Bale made a lot of girls start liking superheroes with his portrayal of Batman, but there were a lot of females in the audience, which was interesting too, because I remember a few years ago, if you had said I'm going to a superhero movie, a lot of people would have laughed at you. So, a few quick things. First, the opening trailers. There were some very cool spots in the opening trailers. They did a pretty lengthy Wolverine trailer for the X-Men Origins movie for Wolverine. Showed off a lot of the special effects, showed up a lot of the characters. A lot of people were excited to see Deadpool in the movie, even though he doesn't have his mask. Still something that I'm hung up on, but I guess if you hire Ryan Reynolds to be in your movie, you actually want to see the guy's face. I don't know, whatever. The other thing that was pretty cool was there's a Tim Burton movie coming out called Nine, which is a post-apocalyptic scenario where the main characters look like the little stitched up dolls from Little Big Planet for the PlayStation 3. Looks very screwed up, but in a very good way. Tim Burton has a way of taking these really crazed concepts and making them pretty cool. So, on to The Watchmen. If you have never read the graphic novel before, just be aware that there are spoilers in this. So if you've read the graphic novel, anything I'm saying isn't news to you. If you've never read it before, obviously all of this is news to you. And I don't want to be the one in charge of spoil or responsible for spoiling anything for you. First off, the characters. The characters were everything that you would hope for from if you've read the novel before. They are a very eclectic, very mismatched group of individuals who all want to be in it for the greater good, and like real people, they all make mistakes, and nobody is perfect, and this is the perfect example of nobody being perfect. These heroes are not your typical Spider-Man or Batman from like the 70s and stuff like that, where it's all happy and campy. These guys are dark. Rorschach, who feels like the main character in this movie to me. You could say it's between him and a few of the others, but he's the focus of a lot of scenes, and he's just a violent person. And while he is out to do good and protect the innocent, he has no problem punishing the wicked, which is done in a very real and very violent way. Speaking of Rorschach, one of the cool special effects of the movie is Rorschach's mask. If you've never seen it before, the concept for Rorschach is he has a mask made out of this material that is ever-changing. It's a white mask with black dots on it, and the face mirrors itself. If something's going up like this, it's doing it on both sides of his face. And it didn't feel like a cheesy special effect. It felt very cool. Speaking of character special effects, Dr. Manhattan, this giant radioactive man who is pretty much powerful as God, doesn't look like a cheesy special effect. He looks like he belongs in this world, and it doesn't appear as though it's a CGI guy standing with a bunch of real people. To continue on with some of the characters, since I started, the comedian looks strangely a lot like Robert De Niro. He is a scumbag, and he plays this character so well. He is a hero by definition, but at the same time, he is a terrible, terrible person who only is doing the right thing when it suits him. And there are a lot of times when you think that this guy might as well have been a villain, considering the stuff he does. Silk Spectre 1 and 2. In this movie, in the early days of the superheroes, there's a woman named Silk Spectre who is a one of the early heroes, and she has a daughter who takes up her mother's mantle and becomes the new one. Um, awesome performances by both. The only thing that wasn't too thrilling about the original Silk Spectre is they show her when she was younger, and then they show her 40 years later when she's supposed to be 68, and she does not look like a 68-year-old woman. You can tell it's the same actress, and the makeup did not make her look old enough. She looked like she was in her mid-40s at best. There was no way she looked like a woman in her late 60s. But can't have everything, right? As far as Night Owl, who's one of the other really cool characters in this movie, they took what could have been a very cheesy costume based on the novel, and they turned it into something very cool, very modern looking. He actually looked fairly badass, which says a lot considering in the novel he was the least favorite character of mine in terms of costume and stuff like that. He actually looked like he could be a superhero in this one. But moving forward onto the story, basic story of this movie is there is a murder right at the start. The comedian is killed. That's the scene that keeps playing over and over again in all the commercials, so I'm not ruining anything for you there. And they hold very, very true to the graphic novel. There are a few bits and pieces that are left out. Basic concept is Rorschach investigates the comedian's murder and comes up with a theory that there are people out there trying to get rid of all the original masked heroes, and between you find out that there is this huge underlying conspiracy, and it is not anywhere near as simplistic as Rorschach thinks it's going to be. There are a few things that do get left out of the novel. Nothing major to me except for there's the original Night Owl. In the graphic novel, the original Night Owl gets killed by a gang of people who are fed up with the superheroes, said that they don't protect anybody, and the original Night Owl gets killed, which kind of further perpetuates Rorschach's theory about why the comedian was killed. They obviously left this out for time or one reason or another, and it wasn't a huge moment to leave that out, but at the same time it was something that kind of helped bring the story along further. In terms of the giant space squid, if you have read the graphic novel, you know exactly what I'm talking about. If you never read it before, this doesn't mean anything to you, so don't worry, it doesn't spoil anything. How they handled the space squid was great. They obviously, it's become knowledge that they were taking that out of the movie because they didn't think it would look good no matter what special effect they did. So they switched up the story towards the end to compensate for that. And they did it in a very intelligent, very sophisticated way that got the story across how it needed to get across. And I thought that was very cool. I was worried that how they were going to handle it was going to take away a little bit of the integrity of the movie, because the whole plot of the villain in this movie doesn't really make sense if there wasn't some cataclysmic disaster that was going on, and it all comes down to a lot of stuff about the paranoia between the U.S. and Russia in the 80s, which is when this was originally written, just so in case you didn't know, it is relevant to the time that it was written. The arms race, the Cold War and everything like that, and the tension that at any moment World War III was ready to start. Only got a minute left, so I'll just give some final conclusion. Overall, I thought it was a great movie. I enjoyed this more than I did The Dark Knight. Maybe it's because I like these characters better than I've ever liked Batman. Bruce Wayne was always just a self-indulgent prick to me, without any flaws. Unlike Iron Man, who was a self-indulgent prick, but at least he was an alcoholic. The scenes are spot on to the movie. There are some of the best dialogue in a superhero movie that's been written in years, and it was a very enjoyable movie to watch. I don't know if it's going to win an Oscar. I don't know if it's going to get even nominated for something, but it was good. I'd say overall I'd give it an 8 out of 10, and I'm sure more people will ask about this in the future, what my thoughts are on more specific stuff, but I want to get it out there, and thank you guys for watching, and hope this helps you decide if you want to see The Watchmen or not.